Okay, last time I tried to make this video, it got deleted somehow, so well, it never saved in the first place. Hopefully this one does. So we've got, starting at question 18, which should be the start of your page 3, which power with a negative exponent is equivalent to 1 over 125? We would take 125 and we would factor it. That's 5 times 25, and 25 is 5 times 5. So our factors are 5, 5, and 5, which is 5 cubed. So I can write this as 1 over 5 cubed, because that's worth 125. Out of these choices, this one's negative, that won't work. That one's negative, that won't work. This one has the base and the exponent all mixed up, so that won't work. So here, 5 to the negative 3 is the same as 1 over 5 to the 3. It's going to be A. For number 19, we're asked to simplify 36x to the 4th y cubed over 4x to the 8y to the negative 1, all to the power of a half. We could take this and spread it out to all of these guys at the inside here, multiply by all of those exponents, but I'm not going to start that way. I'm going to start by looking at 36 by 4, because 36 by 4 is just 9. 36 divided by 4 is 9. X to the 4 and x to the 8. I've got 4 8s there and x 8s down there. The 8 x's down there. So like 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over there. And if I were canceling these out, that and that, that and that, that and that, that and that, I'd have 4 left over on the bottom. So I'll write my 4 x's down there. And for the y's, I've got 3 on the top here, and negative 1 on the bottom there. So that's 3 y's here, and on the bottom I have negative 1, which means it should be up there. So I've got 4 y's, y to the power of 4. And for both of those, we could have written them out using our other set of rules for this, or other set of ways to express it. We could have said x to the 4 minus 8 and got negative 4, so 4 is on the bottom. Or we could have said y to the 3 minus negative 1, and we'd still get 4. So that's another way to show your work if you like. All of this is still to the power of a half. We could write that out as a root. We could say root 9 y to the 4th over x to the 4th. Or we could take the exponent and multiply it by all of its constituent parts here. So that's 9 to the half. 9 to the power of a half is root 9, which is, so 9 to the half. Y to the 4 times a half. 4 times a half. And x to the 4 times a half. 9 to the half is root 9. Root 9 is 3. Y to the, what's 4 times a half? It's just 2. Y squared. And on the bottom, same thing. 4 times a half is just 2. So that's x squared. So here I've got 3y squared over x squared. I can't get any nicer than that. And that is B. Question 20 asks us to evaluate 1.2 to the 3rd over 1.2 to the 4/3. Here it's important to know that the base is the same in both cases, and that means we're allowed to do this method. Take our exponents and subtract them because we're dividing those two. 1/3 minus 4/3 is 1 minus 4 is negative 3/3. But that's just negative 1, right? 3/3 is negative 3/3 is negative 1. 1.2 to the negative 1 is 1 over 1.2. 1 over 1.2 isn't any of our choices here, so we might need to change 1.2 into a fraction. 1.2 as a fraction is 1 and 2/10, which we can reduce to 1 and 1/5, which we can change to mixed form and get 6/5. So that's 1 over 6/5. And 1 over 6/5, once we actually do that division, becomes 5 over 6. So that's going to be A. Number 21, write 8 root 19 as an entire radical. This 8 needs to get underneath there, and to do that, we need to write 2 of them. So this is root 19 times 8 times 8. And 19 times 8 times 8 is 64 times 19, which is 1,216. So we would write just the A part in there. Just that bit is just that bit. So we'd write 1216. For question 22, determine the side length of a square with area 72 centimeters squared. So if we have a square, and that square has an area of 72, and we want to find how big one side is, we know that the area of a square is the same as taking one side and squaring it. All these are the same length. So I know that 72 is equal to one side squared. If I want to find just the side, I would take the root to get just s. Root 72 isn't a nice number, so I'll have to factor 72. 72 is 8 times 9. 8 is 4 times 2. 9 is 3 times 3. 4 is 2 times 2. And now I'm down to my prime factors. 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. So 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. Those are all under there to make 72. These are square roots, so any pair of 2 I can take out. So there's a pair of 2. There's a pair of 2. And I got one lonely one in the middle there. So I can write the 2 and the 3 on the outside and leave that 2 in the middle. And 2 times 3 is just 6. So I would write 6 root 2 is equal to s. The question, though, goes one step further, which says write it in this form being a root b. So we got that. But then it asks you to add them together. So you need to bring out your fingers, add 6 plus 2 to get 8. I'm going to erase all this so that I can do the next question, but it's a video. If you want to look back, just rewind. Okay. Now we have a cube with a volume of, here's a cube, it's beautiful, with a volume of 1280 cubic feet. Determine the edge length of the cube as a radical in simplest form. So if I know the volume of the cube is the same thing as taking the length times the width times the height, but they're all the same because it's a cube. So that's one side cubed. So if I'm looking for just the side, I would want to take the cube root to undo that. So if I take the cube root of s cubed, that's just s. That's why I did that step. And now the cube root of v is the cube root of 1280. So I need to factor 1280. And 1280 is, well, it's got lots of factors. So we're going to have to burn through them. So I can divide 1280 by 2. And 1280 by 2 is 640. 640 still even. I can divide by 2, and I can get 320. 320 I can divide by 2, and I can get 160. 160 I can divide by 2 and get 80. 80 by 2 and get 40. 40 by 2 and get 20. 20 by 2 and get 10. 10 by 2 and get 5. Oh my. And 5 by 5 and just get 1. So after all that, here are the factors of 1280. And I'm looking for groups of 3. Just for fun, I'm going to write out cube root of, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 2s. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that 5. That's the length of my side. I'm looking for groups of 3. I can do that 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's the only two pairs of groups of 3 that I can get out of there. So I can bring out a 2 and another 2, 1 and 2. And inside this cube root, I still have a 2, a 2, and a 5. So once I multiply out those things that are next to each other, 2 times 2 is 4, times the cube root of 2 times 2 is 4 times 5 is 20. So the side, one side of this cube is 4 times the cube root of 20 feet long. It asks you at the end to add a and b, so that's 4 and 20. 4 plus 20 is 24. Taking that a and that b, write them funny, and you get 24. I hope this saves.